Welcome to New Realities. This is Alan Steinfeld, and tonight I'm sitting with two very interesting people who are very much in line with the whole theme of New Realities, which is building a new paradigm, a paradigm for the future. Tonight's guest is Andrew Cameron Bailey and Connie Baxter Marlow, and they are the producers and directors of a great, new, interesting film called In Search of the Future. And they're here to talk to us about this film, which was an investigation into our past with these great elders, these indigenous nations and people around the world, the past and the future. So out of all the people you talked to in this film, which is, beautifully shot around the world, what stands out? What message comes to you the loudest and clearest about, who we've been and where we're going? So is that a big question? Is that okay?
Good start, Connie.
It's a big start.
Okay.
Good start.
Well, most of the people in the film have been friends of ours for 20 to 40 years.
Okay.
So our life has been this journey of basically collecting this information about the nature of the universe through association with these people. And Andrew and me coming together brought a synthesis of Africa and America and quantum science through Ralph Abraham, who's a mathematician, the father of chaos theory. And this synthesis has brought sort of a new way of seeing the world. And we feel that it's key information for right now.
But the new way is what? Because we want to get specific.
It's just, for me, it's a distillation of understanding from the indigenous cultures, multiple indigenous cultures of the world. We go to 12 different cultures and ask more than 12 individuals from these cultures these very simple questions about the human experience. Where did we come from? Where are we going? Simple questions with complex answers, and the weaving of those is what, to me, forms the magic of the film. But it's not only the indigenous, because it's about the coming together of the indigenous cosmology and quantum science or Western wisdom or understanding. We Westerners have vital information to bring to the picture. It's not only the indigenous who have the wisdom. It's the wisdom of humanity is what we went looking for.
And you found it. Yes.
Yes,
Well,
and we feel we've brought the synthesis forward, and we've actually written a book as a result of these experiences. And this book is called The Trust Frequency, 10 Assumptions for a New Paradigm. And this is to answer your question, what did we get out of it? We're kind of just laying a groundwork. What is coming forth out of this is this concept of the trust frequency. The indigenous peoples of the world have what I call a trust-based paradigm.
Who are they trusting?
They're trusting the abundant, loving universe.
The universe is abundant and loving.
Exactly.
Yes.
And our culture doesn't know that because of our rational, mechanistic, Newtonian mindset. In other words, this whole industrial revolutionary mindset that's dominated our culture, and therefore the rest of the planet for the last several hundred years, is great for building roads and making cars and getting to the moon and building
internet.
TV sets and the internet and video cameras and all the communication media that is a part of what's going to actually kick us to the next level, because now we humans are communicating. I can now get on my cell phone and BlackBerry my friends in the Kalahari who are bushmen sitting on their red sand dunes with nothing in the world but a BlackBerry cell phone.
They have a BlackBerry in the Kalahari?
Yeah, they do.
They do.
So if we're going to show up and film them, firstly we email, make sure we got the right numbers, and then the word goes out and we get there and they're expecting us.
Okay, so we have this, what's been called the nervous system of the planet. The communication system is in place, which the Westerners had to do, and they had to do whatever they did. And now we have the wisdom of these traditions coming together, meeting us, and we're going to a new level together, right?
That's exactly right. That's how we see it.
We had to come together.
Yes.
The indigenous people, to me, in this, their understanding, their cosmology, are clues to what it's going to look like, what we're going to do, because no one has walked it yet in its pure form on the planet yet. We
Walk
have to
what?
come together because of fear.
Walk what though?
Walk this trust frequency.
Walked a way that really, really works. You can look at almost all of the cultures of the world have been dominated by fear. I would say with the exception of the hunter-gatherers who really never developed weapons of war and never went, but they were very small population-wise. And if you and I had an argument, we could say, "I'll see you later," and we'd just go, you know. But it's not about going back to something that was in the past. It's not a return.
But these tribes walk with a trust frequency. These indigenous tribes walk in trust, right?
Well, I would say that in their cosmology is a trust cosmology, but behavior hasn't reflected that. In my observation, that everyone on the planet has been influenced by the fear energy.
So even the indigenous tribes that are
Yeah.
living separate from man, and of course the Native Americans before the white man even got here were always killing each other in at war. So there hasn't been real peace
That's what I'm
anywhere
trying
on the
to,
planet.
That's what I'm trying to say.
There's this
so
fantasy.
So it hasn't existed.
There's this fantasy
Yes.
that it did exist, that the Native Americans, to take a perfect example, were living in perfect peace and harmony, and we
Right.
white people came here and screwed them up.
So,
Not true.
so why are we even talking to those
Simply not
guys?
true.
No.
We love them because we, Homo sapiens,
Yes.
are on an evolutionary upward
So
spiral.
those guys
together.
are on it as well. So it's
Totally.
not like we're looking to these indigenous people for all their wisdom, but they do have
Yeah, it
wisdom.
is. Yeah, it is. It's that.
But
as
that you're
well.
saying they didn't have it.
No,
because
their
have-
cosmology.
yes.
In their cosmology,
ideals,
in their knowing,
in their ideals,
in their ideals.
visions.
In their ideals, they
Yeah.
had it.
Yeah.
The visionaries
Mhm.
clearly have they've been around for a long time, these
Right.
folks.
But I mean, I'm agreeing with everything you're saying. But what I'm also sensing possibly is that maybe we don't know the future. Maybe the future for all of us is an unknown. I mean, I think that's what you're saying. And as we come together, the planet will break the old patterns, right? The old paradigms, and will shift into a new harmonious trust frequency that hasn't existed before.
That's right.
Right,
Yes.
and because quantum science is coming on the scene now and actually showing the mechanics of the indigenous cosmology, bringing it to the Western mind, so it's opening the door so that we can talk the same language. We can actually come together now.
Right.
Because if with the Newtonian mechanistic framework, there was no place to access the indigenous understanding. So here
It
was
took
this
quantum
huge
science for us to
separation.
understand them. Isn't that amazing that
Well,
science gets us to the point where we can now really see what it was that they were talking about all along?
Well, it's and I've been studying this, and I've been writing about worldviews and paradigms, and it does seem with Einstein, Heisenberg, Schrodinger, they take the point of view that it's the point of view that creates reality. Einstein and his thought experiments, and Schrodinger, Heisenberg, all said depends on who's looking at reality that determines it. You know, Einstein said if you're going along at the speed of light, it's different if you're traveling that fast as opposed to if you're looking at it. So it comes down, what I think the new paradigm is experiencing. You said it the other night. It's not objective reality. It's a subjective experience that defines the new paradigm.
Yeah, it's very personal and
Right.
it's based on personal assumptions, personal core beliefs, what we believe. If we create reality with our mind, with our thoughts, that has everything to do with what we believe, because our thoughts are distilled from our core, our fundamental assumptions about the nature of reality, and that breaks down into lots of different assumptions.
It does, and I also think we're an open system, right? So we have an idea about reality is, but if we stay open to the spirit, to the divine, we're also going to get new information. We're going
Absolutely.
And it's ever changing,
That's right.
ever evolving.
We put our system on receive
Right.
instead of just send. We hang up the phone, so the busy signal, so that the energies can get through to us.
That's
It's not always
right.
getting
We're
a
always
busy
putting
signal.
out, we never,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
isn't that
right.
fun?
That
Isn't
is like the like my phone. This is
Switch it
the
off,
hearing
would you?
is the kind of female part, and the sending is the male part.
So we're
So
going
hearing and speaking. Yeah.
to open to listening, and the native people say, listen. The elders, listen. Listen to the silence. Listen.
So that's the
between
piece
the lines.
that's been missing.
One of the many pieces that have been missing.
The
Yeah,
hearing and
all
the
these
speech.
different missing pieces of the puzzle that are coming together rapidly, I think in an accelerating way.
Well,
A lot of the pieces
2012.
are I know. So
Right.
a lot of pieces are coming in 2012, maybe the point at which they all come
I
together.
think
do
2012
not.
we're going to get a new message to be received.
That's what they say in our film. A bunch of people in our film
I
say
sense
2012
that. Don't
is
you
a key date.
Don't you sense that?
Oh, absolutely.
It feels like already this year we're moving to a huge shift. Economic meltdown, political, transition.
Right, yeah.
Well, I feel that the truth is coming on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
The true nature of the universe is being revealed to us. We're opening our hearts and minds to it. And this indigenous piece is key because they have had access to an expanded reality. They have stayed in touch with the unseen forces. They've lived in a sacred manner. They honor the spirit in all things, the sacredness of all things. So that there's very much that they're bringing to the table
So that's what
of
we
the
can
heart
learn
of the
from them.
matter.
But you're saying that wasn't enough because they're missing our piece, the technology. Were you saying that? Because in a sense it wasn't enough because...
Think of Teilhard de Chardin
Yes.
and the omega point and his concept of the noosphere, right? The sphere of consciousness encompassing the earth.
Yes.
It takes all of humanity
Right.
to reach this point of this quantum leap in consciousness.
Yeah.
And it takes the input of all concerned, every single sentient being, not just humans,
Right,
in fact,
right.
every rock and every tree and every goldfish.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side of it, de Chardin literally predicted the internet. He literally,
did.
you can find where de Chardin is saying something way back, 80 or 100 years before the internet, that certainly looks like the internet. Point being that this visionary had this idea that something was going to happen and it was going to include technology. So somehow this technology that we Westerners and the whole Newtonian science thing brought is a key factor to what we're going to become in the future as we wake up.
But on the other hand, the indigenous people, the Native Americans and others, have in the old days communicated telepathically, cell to cell. You didn't have to say when there was a meeting, the people gathered. Okay, and so this is what we can do that now with our cell. Call me on my cell. I believe that all of this technology is actually taking us into this communication, cellular communication, telepathic communication, and access to the unified field. The computer simulates the unified field.
And eventually the hardware is going to drop away and it'll be pure software. How about that?
Right, but what it's done is it's linked us worldwide. See,
Yeah.
the native peoples in the past were connected tribally, locally.
Within
But
within
with
their
this
groups,
technology has taken us into a worldwide interconnectedness.
Well, I think what you said feels right. It's like we have to, every person on the planet has to come into a kind of coherence and harmony with each other. I've talked to Bruce Lipton, you know his book?
Yeah.
He said in the interview I did with him, it's humanity isn't formed until we're all coherent, until we all come together and become one being.
Yeah, we're an evolving being. We're in an adolescent stage, as John Renner says in the film. Humanity is at an adolescent stage. We can see where we need to get to, and we can see the lack.
And we're coming into the collective consciousness that they already knew about in the Indian traditions. Arthur C. Clarke, his book Childhood's End.
Childhood's End. Yeah.
We're coming to the end of the adolescence.
Yeah, that's right.
You don't want to give adolescents guns because they might kill each other. So if we...
There's a lot of adolescents out there with guns right now. We need
Exactly.
And there's a lot of information about the nature of the universe that cannot be revealed to us until we've cleansed of fear. Because we will use
Because it
that
can be
information, the
misused.
power of the universe, we would use to gain power and control over others
Well,
out of fear.
I agree. And that key part of that coming together is the unification with, I think, our cosmic family. I think it's only when we come together, the earth, and speak with that collective consciousness will they say from these other star systems, okay, they're ready, they've grown up, they've graduated from their adolescence, and they're ready for an exchange of a bigger platform of consciousness.
That's what I was saying at the Culture of
Yes.
Context Symposium last night.
Yes.
If there are indeed these advanced beings, what are they waiting for? They're waiting for us to wake up, grow up,
Exactly.
and make it safe for them to come, because what would happen if they landed right now?
Yes.
It'd probably be terrible.
Well, it will
Or
be,
not,
because
or-
we're here to come together, and then when we meet the other, we then appreciate more of our humanity as well. You know, you did say something else last night about the flowering of humanity. Did you say that about the maturing of humanity in this way? There was a way you expressed it the other night that I thought was very.
It is. It's a blossoming. It's an
Yeah.
unfolding. You know, and a lot
Yeah.
of us are. You know, there's just this mass. It's an individual awakening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people talk about the second coming. To me, that's the spark that occurs within each of us as each of us wakes up, and this becomes contagious, and then it spreads. And look what's going on right now. Look how different the world is.
Yes.
from
Well,
what
I
it
was going to
25
say,
years ago.
and practically speaking, we feel that it has to do with bringing information onto the table about the nature of the universe.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. So, what is your work then? Tell us what your
Here's the
specific
book.
work.
The book is
Well-
a very lucid
Yes.
and
Simple.
explanation. Simply, it's really simple. You know, can we envision this transition? Can we get a picture of where we have to get to? Here we are here, and we want to get to there. How do we make that change? And how can we make it simple? How can we make it accessible so it's not mysticism? You don't have to go and sit in a cave for 40 years. You don't have to study with a guru forever. You don't have to rack your brain.
Yeah.
It's really simple. We broke it down into these 10 assumptions. What we talk about a paradigm shift.
Well,
What's a
everyone
par-
is talking about
a
that.
paradigm. What's a paradigm? It's a set of assumptions. It's simply an assembly of core beliefs that creates our consensus reality.
Well, are paradigm assumption, or are they facts that explain part of reality?
To me, a paradigm is sort of the overarching set of assumptions, and here are all the individual assumptions. So we chose 10 of them. Let's just look at the universe we live in. What's the true nature of the universe? Is it this mechanistic thing that the scientists would have you believe? Or is it this conscious loving thing that the philosophers and the spiritual people would have you believe?
Or is it something else?
Or is it something else? So cool. So,
Yes.
but if you make this shift from an assumption, just to take the first
Yes,
assumption,
yes,
is
yes.
we live in a conscious, loving universe.
Okay.
In fact, there is nothing but love. Now that's radical. Love with a capital L. Love being the most powerful force in the universe. It's actually that force that created and manifested everything that is and holds it together. If we have that as a fundamental assumption, life is so radically different from the assumption that the universe doesn't even know we exist. It's not consciousness. It's not conscious. We know life and consciousness exist. Science acknowledges the existence of consciousness, but it doesn't acknowledge the fact that,
we know we're conscious.
for example, that our planet is a living entity, that it's a being.
And this idea of love, people say, well, you're crazy. You know, there's war, there's famine.
How can it be love?
How can that be love?
Uh-huh.
How can the horrible things that have happened to me, my family, to the world? And what we're bringing to the table is that what we don't understand is the nature of that love, that it is unconditional, that it's its absolute nature, that it must bring us everything we ask for.
So everything we think is us asking. So if I have an assumption about something,
Yes.
if I assume it's a crummy world, guess what? The universe gives me a crummy world. If I assume it's an abundant world, guess what?
See, so our belief in scarcity, for example,
Perfect example.
our economic system is based on the problem of scarcity. Well, that assumption creates a scarce world. Okay, and what we're saying is that assumption has a vibratory level. Okay,
It does.
so it has a vibratory level, and what we're saying is that each vibratory level has its own set of laws.
That's true. Laws of
Okay.
a paradigm, or of assumption.
Right, no, but a law.
The
It looks
actual-
like
the actual-
the
a
actual
law.
law that applies to you.
Like the laws of physics change
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you're in a different vibratory state.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so the
yes.
laws that look immutable,
like
at this
which laws?
vibratory
The,
level, like the financial one. If I don't get up and go to work, I will not eat.
Right. That's a belief that
That's
people
a belief,
have, and
and
so
it looks like an immutable law.
it does. But on that level, you're right.
Okay.
And on another level, what's
On
the,
another
what
level,
would you
and
report?
what we're saying is that each frequency has its own set of laws.
I think that's true.
And we got that through it's one of the clues that led to this this paradigm that we're putting forth came from Henry David Thoreau.
What did
In
Thoreau
his
say?
conclusion to Walden, he said, "When one walks confidently in the direction of his dreams and lives the life that he has imagined, he will pass certain boundaries, and the laws that apply to him will be expanded, or new laws will be created in his favor,
That's
and
nice.
he will live with the license of a higher order of beings."
Beautiful, thank you.
Yeah, that's Thoreau, one of
Thank
the
you,
great
Thoreau.
American wise ones.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So one
yes.
thing we bring in the film too is wherever we can, and we're making a second film. How do you integrate the wisdom, the wise ones who have passed away? You know,
Right.
and so you bring them in through quotes and through various ways of reviving.
But
that
this key,
information.
when you walk confidently in the direction of your dreams, or live the life that you have imagined,
Meaning you have to walk it.
you have
Yes.
to walk it.
It's not about just
And
thinking it or talking
your
it.
dream, when you follow your dream, you're following your soul's destiny.
Yes.
You're walking in trust. When you walk confidently in
That's
the direction
trust.
of your
It takes
dreams,
trust to
that's
walk
trust.
confidently.
So what we've extrapolated is that when you do that, you're taking yourself out of the fear frequency, putting yourself into the trust frequency,
Yeah.
where the laws that apply to you
Yes.
are different.
Thank you. That's great.
How about
No, I
that?
get that. Is that right at the end of Walden?
Yeah, it's in
That's
his
good.
conclusion to Walden.
It is. I have a little look
He
that
starts
up.
it. He says, "This at least I have learned by my experiment."
And he has.
And
And he
that's
was
what he
one of
did.
the great mystics of our time. And Emerson and
Yeah.
Whitman, these are the great sages of our
of
own
the
American.
of the American.
Yes,
wisdom.
yes,
Yeah.
and they were transcendental. They were called the transcendental.
And in fact, we've done a 5-part film series
Oh yeah.
on little-known aspects of the life of Henry Thoreau.
Oh great.
He spent his life researching the American Indian. No one knows that.
Did you know that?
He
I
went
did
to-
not know that.
He went to Maine 3 times to hire Indian guides so he could study their ways.
How many volumes of notes?
12 volumes
12
of
volumes.
Is it
unpublished
published?
works.
Unpublished. Why
Right.
doesn't someone
He
publish
died.
it?
Well,
Thoreau died at age 45.
Really?
Before
At
he could, at that
45?
young, before
did
he
not
could
know
publish, that was going to
that.
be his great work, I think.
Wow. Why doesn't someone publish
Well,
that?
there was a man, a visionary scholar who was transcribing the Indian notebooks, who was in our film series, who died at the age of 50.
He just
Wow.
dropped dead,
Bradley
so,
Dean.
Yeah.
And so
The whole
he-
mystical side of Thoreau waits
Well,
its day on the
Walden's
side.
kind of mystical in a sense.
True,
isn't
but
it?
you know, you go to there's the Thoreau Society, and they have these Thoreau gatherings.
Why
and
don't
it's
they
very academic.
publish
and they
those
don't-
books?
They really stay away from the mystical side, which is
see,
interesting.
the mystical side of Thoreau, the whole mystical piece,
Uh-huh.
the heart, it has not been time, I believe, for the human heart.
Yeah.
It has not been safe for the human heart. So this whole mystical piece, this whole native understanding, that whole arena of understanding has been over here,
Yeah.
because we had to play out all of this separation, all of this fear, all of this scarcity stuff. Okay? And
It's
now
played out.
Yeah, it's played out, and it's
Okay.
time now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this work that we're doing, bringing forth Thoreau and his involvement with the American Indian, his mystical nature, his epiphany on Mount Katahdin in Maine.
He had a spiritual awakening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that he had there. Brad Dean says you have Thoreau on Mount Katahdin, you have Moses on Mount Sinai. There's a correspondence between the two. This is all stuff that isn't known.
Yeah,
And
Buddha
there's-
under the Bodhi tree, right? You
Yeah.
know.
And actually, there's a beautiful story that sits at the founding of this nation in the first 50 years in Plymouth, Massachusetts, and the 50 years of peace and friendship between the Wampanoag Indians and the Mayflower Pilgrims. There's something incredible that happened there that is shrouded in misconception and misunderstanding that is yet to be revealed.
Well, Thanksgiving though is about that, isn't that about that
True, but
relationship?
but it's all kind of being rewritten at this point. It's a whole
No,
story.
but
of life.
it's become a
It is, it's a-
mythicized.
Yeah, but it's about the trust.
acknowledgement.
Those two cultures met, sat
Yeah.
down within a few days, created a treaty, and lived in trust
Yeah.
for the next 55 years before
Yeah.
it fell apart. Of course, during that whole time, all these other
Right.
folks came over from Europe and things shifted. But during that 50 years with those particular people, it was impeccable.
Right.
What went on, and it's right now what the pendulum is swung from that peaceful Thanksgiving thing to to the real Thanksgiving and a demonization of the
don't know if
pilgrim
you
and
know
a
that.
glorification of the Indian.
And that's
And
the other.
that's a swing of the pendulum. And what our work is going to do is take it up here to the high place of the common ground of the Mayflower Pilgrim and the Wampanoag, the visionary leader, Massasoit, and the visionary pilgrims sat at this peace treaty, created this treaty, and lived in peace, not just peace, but friendship.
But-
and this is at the founding of our nation.
But don't you feel we're going to get to a time, maybe it's 2012, where we can wipe the past clean, take all the wisdom, but let's make a turn and not even refer to the past. Let's
Right.
build a new society from scratch and with this open heart, this beautiful, loving trust frequency
Right.
that's based on something new.
And living in the now,
And
which is always
living
new.
in the now, because
Yeah.
then it's great that we have this past, but I'm tired of hearing, everyone
Yes.
say how great, and it was great, and I'm not saying it
And
wasn't.
it wasn't
but
great.
the now, and it wasn't.
There was a lot of bad stuff in the past, too.
Right,
We
but
have to let it
living
all
in the
go.
now
Yeah, now you're talking.
is the frequency of everything that you've been talking about. Just
That's one of our
presence.
assumptions.
In fact, you can only do it in the now, because the fact is there is only now.
Exactly.
The only thing that actually really exists is this moment. It's gone already before
Exactly.
I've had a chance to say
Unless
it.
it's on videotape.
There you go. There it is. It's over.
But the now isn't an assumption. When you call it an assumption, I think that is a
Well, here's the assumption.
okay.
There is only now. There is only
Is
this
that an
precious.
assumption?
Yeah.
Is
You
that
see,
an
if you
assumption,
take
or
that
is
as
it
a fundamental axiom about the way I'm going to live my life, the only thing that is this moment, and I'm really going to be present to this moment. If I can use that as a belief that this is the way it is, it brings me into the present, and only in the present can we manifest full humanity.
But I'm
if you
just
will.
questioning the word assumption.
Understood.
I don't think.
It's a loaded word. We realize that.
I mean, I understand you're saying paradigms are based on assumptions, but when you assume something, it's different than knowing it. When you know something, then it's registered inside of
An
us.
assumption, by definition, is something that we believe, that we take for granted, that we rarely, if ever, examine. So most of the assumptions of the broader society came to each individual through their culture, through their parents, through their grandparents, through school, through television, however they
Of course,
got,
I understand. We
however
have
they
some
got those
awful
core beliefs.
assumptions.
And those are what we're talking about. Finding those, looking at them, generally flipping them on their heads and saying, wait a minute, what if it's the total 180-degree opposite?
And it
Guess what?
is.
That is the way it works.
Yeah.
Take your beliefs and flip them.
Tofu isn't even good for you anymore. Did you
How
know
about that? This is no
But,
soybeans.
all those things,
Soybeans are destroying
all
the
those
world.
old assumptions.
Yeah.
And it's good to eat bacon. No, but
Yeah.
it's okay. No, but yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if I finished with this
Yes.
unconditional nature of the love that drives the universe.
Tell
Did I
me.
finish that?
No,
See,
tell me.
That's a key piece, because of our lack of understanding of the nature of that love that drives all things, that it's unconditional. It must give us what we ask for.
It must.
It must. It has to.
Is that an assumption? That's a knowing, right?
That's an assumption too, though. You see,
Well,
But
but
it's
you
also
we're
a
calling-
reality because
Well,
it's been proven for you.
Yeah, but we're calling them, these are assumptions from which one can create a paradigm, from which one can make decisions in their lives. So it's assumptions about the nature of the universe. And so this unconditional love that must give us everything we ask for, our assumptions are our requests to that love.
and each assumption,
each
has
assumption-
a frequency of its own, and therefore a set of laws of its own. So, depending on the assumptions that we are constructed, in a sense, our inner reality is made up of these assumptions. It's one way of looking at it, each with its vibratory level. And someone who's in a fearful or a doubt-filled state is a very different vibratory being from someone who's in a, shall we say, a love-trust state.
I totally agree, and I do agree with what you're doing. I think we have to get to the children, because sort of when you grow up, you already have those kind of chiseled into you, those paradigm assumptions,
but
right?
we are making a valiant attempt
Yes.
to get to the adults.
Okay, but
With
get to the children as well.
With these set of, okay, we say you can't teach
Yes,
an old
yes.
dog new tricks. We're trying to find,
I think-
hey, old dog, You know,
Tom.
show me your tricks. You
No,
know,
I know.
when somebody in one of our talks comes up and is outraged at our optimism, you know, how on earth can you say that? And really, you know, people actually can take
Well, I'm going to
offense.
introduce you to some really great optimists.
Good, we like
I'll tell you,
Yeah.
you take the song Imagine.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that song. It says it all.
It says
It's a
it all.
roadmap.
It
And
is.
teach the children that this is the true nature of the universe.
I agree.
Right there. And
Yeah.
and you've got it.
But you said we've got to get to the children. But before we get to the children, we need to be in an appropriate place to actually bring the children
Of course.
what we
It's
believe they
The
need. How do
chicken
we
or
do?
the egg. Do you get to
Yeah.
the chicken or you get to the
Yeah.
egg?
So it's really about us adults, us visionary adults, to really get to the children. But we actually have to get to the children with our community of fellow visionary, co-creative adults.
That's what we're all doing here.
Yeah, I know.
We're-
Yeah.
So tell people how to reach you. We're just about out of time. So
All right.
just tell them.
Well, for the film,
Mhm.
it's called In Search of the Future, and the website is insearchofthefuturemovie.com. Don't forget the movie, because if you just go to In Search of the Future, you get something else,
Right,
some
okay.
techno thing. insearchofthefuturemovie.com. We live in Sedona, Arizona, where we have a cool little retreat center, and it's called the Institute, INN. It's a place you can come and stay and retreat, and we have workshops, and we're
Great.
always open to workshop leaders and facilitators
Great.
showing up, especially when it gets miserable here in New York in the wintertime. Come to Sedona, it's beautiful.
Okay.
The Institute
The
at
Institute, yeah, just the
Sedona.com.
Institute.com, two N's, the Institute.com or the Institute
At
at
Sedona.
Sedona.com, either one does
Great.
it. Our
Great.
workshop's called the Trust Frequency. If you Google the Trust Frequency, you'll find it. And this is the
In
basically
our book, we don't have a
Oh, the
a
book is
website
The
for
Trust Frequency.
book. 10
And
Assumptions for a New Paradigm.
that's with Andrew Cameron Bailey and Connie Baxter Marlow.
Yeah.
Thank-
And there's also another website, theamericanevolution.com,
Yeah.
that one can access the Thoreau work.
Yeah, right.
And,
yeah. So
thank-
we're multifaceted.
No, it's exciting. And then we're all out there doing our
Beautiful.
little piece.
It's great to be in
Of-
New York.
of-
Great to meet you, Alan.
And thank you for your
Thank
piece.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
We're all have a little piece of the puzzle.
We
do.
do. And you're in such a powerful position to share this information. We just are internally grateful
Oh,
for the work you do.
So you're showing up for your job. We're showing up for our. Each of us brings our facet of the diamond.
Yes, it's so fun because we're putting together this big
Yeah.
picture of this new reality,
That's
this
it.
new paradigm.
One Native American elder said to me that each person will come and bring their piece of the hoop
Exactly.
and fit it
We'll
together, and
all
we will
carry the
create
hoop.
the hoop of life.
How about that?
That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank
Thanks,
you
Alan.
both. It's really beautiful. It's good work. This is Alan Steinfeld for New Realities. If you have any comments, email me at newrealities@earthlink.net. Check my website, newrealities.com. And thank you for being here.